Hey, thank you, Iggy. Yeah, so hello everyone, good morning. And today I'm going to talk about remote impact. I'm Carol, I'm from Taiwan, and today I'm going to share three of my stories about remote working. It's about research, communication, and work-life balance. Right now I'm working at Indeed, and I'm working at Indeed focusing on the job search experiences for the Japanese market. I moved to Tokyo for Indeed about 3 years ago, so you can expect while I was looking forward to the weekend in Japan. I can get the Japanese food, look at the fireworks in the summer, and also go to the famous ramen shop. And sometimes I can also visit the flea market. Of course, hang out with my colleagues sometimes. However, COVID hit us. Sometimes, the expectation is not aligned with the reality. So I didn't expect to stay at home most of the time, and everything changed. The way we work, the way we live our life. And this is my studio room before I officially move in. So when the furniture are all sitting, the space is even smaller. Well, the street also changed before. There are so many tourists. It's the famous Shibuya crossing. I believe all of you must seen some pictures before. But now there's no tourists. The empty Tokyo city looked like a movie scene. It's almost impossible to see the situation because even in the midnight 11 o'clock, usually we'll see people in the stations heading from home, like from their dinner or from hanging out with friends. So it's really interesting experiences to me. Of course, there are many shops that put on the plastic covers in the front desk to have the better disconnect covers between the staff and also the customers in the post office, convenience stores, and supermarket. Even though I'm not too sure how helpful it will be, but that's the things they do to prevent. And also on the street and by the buildings, you can see a lot of posters. There are many posters to remind people to keep the social distance. This is the sign I see from the libraries, a cute frog wearing a mask. I think Japanese are really good at using illustration to express their uh, ideas and communicate with people. And this is the poster from the department store to tell you some of the guidelines you need to follow. Wear the mask, and if you are feeling not well, don't come to the stores, and also to keep the social distance. Some company I also see they put on the mask for their mascots, which I think is really cute. Of course, my work from home also begins. Well, one thing I was really happy about is that I don't need to deal with the commute anymore. Even though I work at Indeed, I already have a at the time I already have a flexibility, heading to the office or come to home in the flexible time. And it's still 10 o'clock. There are so many people on the street, and this is the stairway I need to pass every morning. And in the evening, sometimes it's full of people. I even cannot just walk faster or run through the station to get faster to go home. So usually when I got home, it's already 8 or 9 o'clock and finish my dinner. So I barely have my own time. And another thing is I also became the food delivery heavy users. I noticed in Japan, many of the shops they are drawing illustrations and also writing down the messages on the card or to go box to show their appreciations. This is the sandwich shop I order many times because I just want to see what's the illustration they are going to draw me next time. Sometimes it's not only about, they want you to buy more the next time. They will also say, have a nice day. And there's a one time I got a message on my latte saying, love yourself. I think in Japan, the comic books are one of the most popular forms of entertainment medias among kids and adults. So I think that's why they are really familiar with using illustrations to show their feelings. All the illustrations and the messages make the experiences more personalized and unique. Of course, the first thing I noticed the change is our research. One thing I like about the remote research is I will be able to see the participants' home environment and also to see what kind of devices they are using. Because before, when we are in the office, they're all using the phone we provided. So we barely have the chances to see what kind of phone they are using. So I think that's one thing interesting to me. And the remote research also bring a lot of benefits to us. The first thing is the time flexibilities. So it's for both sides. We have better chances to book the user's time. And also another thing, there's no location limitations anymore. So we can reach out the people who live far from the research lab. And the third thing is about the home environment. The home environment fosters comfort. When taking part at home, the participants feel more comfortable to share their feelings, express their thoughts. And one thing I noticed is that they feel more comfortable to speak aloud in their own home. And there's one time I noticed a participant. He was using his mobile phone on the sofa, and then that's why I see their bare feet behind the mobile screen. And that's how comfortable they got, even for Japanese. Although there are some challenges for the remote research as well. In the beginning, while we are recruiting the users, we're having difficulties to recruit the users because there are many people who don't have Wi-Fi at home, and some of them have low digital literacy. So it's really important to be ready, to get the participant ready. The more ready they are, the smoother the research goes. Due to the technology requirement, we did a lot of preparation to onboard the users. We guide them to download the Zoom software and also do a simple demonstration how to use the software and also show them where to access the prototype. We also teach them how to present their phone screens. For example, this is the laptop hugging techniques. So the user need to show the phone using this way. And this is something when they use it, we will be able to look at their fingers, how they navigate through the prototype. And another benefit is that they don't need to install extra apps on their phone to connect to the video calls. And the second thing is to remember, know the risks and have backup plans. So I remember there's a one time the Figma prototype is just not working in the middle of the interview. But the great thing is we prepare for the markup as a presentation deck. So we were able to show the screen to the user, and we can get some feedback or opinions from the markup. Even though they cannot interact with the design directly, but we were able to use the markup to stimulate the conversation and learn their feedback. So overall, focus on your research goal and be prepared. And the second story I'm going to share is about communications. The communication really changed a lot from in-person to remote. And do you guys know the UX designer actually spend a lot of time on communication rather than doing your own design? So this is my calendar look like. Mostly we have a lot of meetings, and I barely have some time to really sit down to work on my design. And when I have the mentoring session with the new designers, one of the most asked questions is, what are the soft skills I need to improve or I need to work on? Definitely, I will say communication skills. And it's even more important, more crucial when we work with remote team. Before in the office, when we are together, we can share our opinions or ideas through sketch and even use our body language to kind of describe our ideas. And sometimes when like the developer finish a design, we can also grab a coffee, sit together to review the design together. But now everything changed to 2D. All of us are stuck in the small boxes and then looking at the same screen. Sometimes it will cause a miscommunication. For example, when I say apple, what kind of apple in your mind? Is it a green apple or a red apple? Or apples in different perspective? Or this? So we really need to remember to establish the shared context. Since working remotely is more disconnected, it's very important to share about the background, the topic you are going to talk about before you really share your design, because it's not everyone knowing what's going on with each other. And secondly, it's better to make the conversation tangible. Sometimes it's hard to make sense of what other people are talking about, or not sure if the discussion is in progress. So try to capture the ideas and thoughts in the room in a tangible way. I think it could be simple as writing down the important notes on the documents, or like using a Figma to present your ideas or sketch. In doing so, you are not only capturing what you hear in a visual way, but also bring clarity to the communication. Besides all of above, I also have my own challenges. The video calls really makes me nervous. I don't know why every time just before the video call connected, my heart rate just getting really high and get really nervous. And the second thing is because I'm not a native English speaker, I feel conscious about what I'm talking about or my own words. And the third thing is the timing to speak up. But today I'm not going to share about what kind of things to improve all my struggles. I want to talk about why is it important. Since our conversation are squeezing into all the meetings and the text-based communications, I think the meetings to make the communication more effectively, it's really important to participate in the meetings instead of just sitting or just join the meeting. Because it's really important to create the conversations and inspire others. And also, if you speak up and ask questions, it can help clarifying the messages. So sometimes I will prepare for the meetings or the conversation I'm going to have. I will write down on the notes to think about, to make sure what are the goals I'm going to achieve by this conversation. And also, I will ask myself, what are the questions will get me to move the project forward. I really believe everyone can help and guide others to achieve their goals, regardless their experiences. We can influence others through providing helps and input. For example, during the design critique, you can ask questions to inspire others. It doesn't necessarily need to be a solution, but it will be awesome if you can speak up or ask questions. So everything you do, you can influence others through the groundwork. And the third story is about work-life balance. Well, before when we are in the office, the environment will remind me what to do next. For example, if there's a meeting, my colleague will talk to me like, hey, Carol, let's go to the other room. It's time for meeting. Or during the lunchtime, we head to the cafeteria for the lunch. Or, at the end of the day, I need to leave the office, which telling me I need to put everything behind, time to relax. So for the first few months in the beginning of the remote working at home, I find myself working long hours in the same space, and it's easy to get into the rabbit hole and forgot about the time. And I also feel low productivity. And since my home, I only have one room. I don't have any other places to go. I don't have actual work-life boundaries. I think it's really important to make time for myself, to set the boundaries for your personal life, either to develop hobbies, to experience new things, or exercise. Because all of these things above will help you to have a fulfilling life, and also everything will recharge you when you come back to work. And the second thing is to set and stick to a routine. I believe routines help eliminate repetitive decision makings. I have my morning routine to exercise and have breakfast to remind me, okay, it's the new day. The day is started. I need to, be ready for work. And it's better to have your personalized routines. And I also guess why that's Steve Jobs always wearing the same clothes, because he spent the important time on the bigger tasks. While all those things, like maybe it sounds cheesy to have your online work-life balances, because I really think UX career is a marathon, not a sprint. I've been working in this field for 8 years, and I'm still learning and growing. I think that's why I didn't get sick of this what I'm doing, or else I think I will change another thing quickly. It's better to make use of your time to grow skills. If you are new in the field, maybe you want to learn something, to grow something like communications or analytic thinking, or if you've been in this field for a long time, you want to find new inspirations. So it's really important to have your own time to do something new. And all of these experiences or the things you try will contribute back to yourself. So what I did is I used my own time to mentor some designers. And one of my good friends asked me, like, hey, Carol, why did you do it? Did you get paid? Or are you feeling you have the mission to help people? So when he asked me, I laughed, because I feel, no, actually, I don't have that big mission. I'm not that great. I just want to practice to articulate my thoughts through the conversation. I also want to practice to see if I really know something. Because sometimes I feel I know something doesn't equal to I really know it. So I really want to know if I can tackle or approach problems when the mentees bring me some issues or situations. I also use my own time to work on my side project. And luckily, I expanded my connection during the quarantine and made some friends. I feel I talk to them more than the friends in my real life. That's something I didn't expect it. So overall, the final notes is, well, you never know when life is going to hit you. There are changes very often. COVID is getting better, and maybe we are going back to the normal life, but you never know what's going to happen next. The changes sometimes bring the difficulties, but however, it will always bring the opportunities for you to learn something, to see something, and then you can grow from it. I have the quote here. I want to share with you guys. I'm not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become. Even though COVID changed our life or changed the way we work, we can decide what we want to do and moving forward. Thank you.
Carol, thank you so much for that awesome talk.
Thank you.
I see we've got lots of positive reactions, and we've got some questions. The
Okay.
first question is from Nick. Which online tools did you find were the most effective for collaboration amongst your team?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think right now there are so many tools online. Like I think during the workshop we tried the Miro Ball to collaborate, like because it's like sticky notes to put together, and then we can share the thoughts in real time. But I think every time I see this question, like asking about what kind of tools, I would say it depends on like what kind of team you are working with and depends on the scenarios. Like maybe it's for workshop or for research, depends on what you need and you look for the tools. So also, you don't need to try a bunch of tools. You need to focus on which tool you feel more familiar with or which one is more simpler for you to start with. So you don't need to spend time to, learn about a tools like how do I use it. It's more about, you can be more productive and to solve your problem, the team's problem. Do I answer
Thank you.
your question? Thank you.
Uh, the next question is from James. What is the context of no bad connectivity in usability testing? Wouldn't this be a prerequisite when you screen participants? Then how are you finding participants?
Yeah, so when we screening the users, we have some questions, right? Because during the remote research, we'll require the user to have like what kind of maybe computer or mobile devices will be required. And also we need them to have the Wi-Fi connections. So there are a few like questions we will have them answered. And then, if they don't have that kind of technology like the devices, then we won't be able to move on. So that's our process. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And then we've got one more question from Anna. If there are any more questions, please add them. Um, we've got one more question from Anna, and that is, what methods of research will you continue to use when you are allowed to return to the office?
Oh, one method. Is it one
Yeah,
method?
I think that's because you're saying you've become innovative and you have to change things up a bit. So now that you've been working from home and remotely, um, if and when you should return to the office, which of
Mm-hmm.
these methods or tools or ways of working that you've established in this time will you continue to use going forward?
Mm-hmm. Let me think. Good question. I think it also depends on the context, like what kind of, sometimes like car sorting or what kind of result you want to get. And I think for the research method, I don't think I have a uh, answer for you for now, because I would say it's more related to the context. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. We've got two more questions.
Thank you. Mhm.
Uh, the next question is from Yoke. And do you use any other tools for usability testing other than interviews with Zoom?
Mm. Oh, other tools.
Yeah. So is
Let
there
me
anything,
think.
any other tool you use for testing apart from Zoom?
Oh, okay. I think sometimes we also use, I think Figma is also the tools like when we can, there's a real time feedback using the Figma. They are getting more and more features on Figma. For example, you can chat or to use the mouse, or like there's a mouse to indicate where the screen go, or and that's one thing. But other than that, I think we try not to use too many kind of tools because we need to also educate the user how to use it. So we try to stick to the same thing unless there's special needs.
Thank you.
Thank
Um,
you.
and then we've got our last question from Nelissa. How have you made synthesizing insights from research work faster while working remotely, especially when synthesizing the insights with multiple people?
With multiple people. Oh, you
Hmm.
mean like how to move faster?
I think it's, I mean, Melissa just maybe can't correct me if I'm wrong here. I'm assuming when you're saying synthesizing, you're referring also to collating and pulling all that insights together. And how are you, I guess, wading through that information to work faster?
Yeah, so actually in our team we have two kinds of research. One is like smaller, so the designer need to in charge of the research. So when we are looking at the for that part, since the UX designer drive the research, we need to kind of synthesize by ourselves on our own. So
Hmm.
uh, when we look at a interview, we're already taking notes and do everything on our own. So that the work is more like we need to initiate the to drive the result by ourselves. But for a bigger research, we have the research team to help us to have the presentation deck to consolidate all the research result. Even though it takes more time, but I would say it's definitely if you have time. So if I have time, I will definitely join the session because a lot of time the research it happens many times, right? You need to consolidate all the result within yourself because sometimes different session might have the same topic, might have the same topic that how to say that you can see the same issue happening. So you need to
Hmm.
consolidate all the them together. It's not like by single. So it's
Yeah,
definitely when observing the research.
thank you. And then the last question we've got by Clara. Um, have you found that have you found that cultural differences have a big impact on your usability testing outcomes? Do users in Japan behave differently than previous places that you've tested in?
Yes, definitely. Japanese users are really polite. They are even say sorry before they answer the question. So a lot of time we need to look into the details. Like for example, when we ask them some questions, it's not really about how they answer because they even would be really afraid of sharing their thoughts because they will feel like it's impolite. So, for example, one thing is before research, we will remind them like strongly like, hey, please share your opinion because even it's bad, it will be helpful for us. That's one thing. And another thing is during the research, observe what they really do because when we ask them, they will say, "Oh, it's good, it's okay," but like they are just being polite. So that's
Mm.
like we need to pay more attention to what they do.
Thank you. That is all the questions. If you
Thank
do have
you.
any more questions, please connect with Carol. I would suggest Instagram before LinkedIn.